I might start, somebody asked me a question via email, which was a good question, and asked if I would answer that during the class. What they asked me was why, after they have some major opening in the meditation, they'll feel tension. And, this is a very common experience because the tension is resistance to change. The tension is that part of ourselves that doesn't want to step into the unknown, the resistance to growing, wanting everything to be the way it is, no matter how sometimes terrible it is. There's resistance, and that resistance will come up. And it's part of the test of whether or not we are willing to go deep enough inside ourselves to actually make the changes. Because one experience of that nature is not going to create change. One has to really, literally recondition themselves so that, there's a consistency of that kind of openness that changes a human being inside. So if you experience that kind of resistance after some deep opening, understand it is just part of the psyche of a human being that, really creates situations that make it very difficult for them to change. The work has to be continuous. It has to sustain itself. You have to literally recondition your inner life so that you can truly undergo profound changes. So, it's a very good question. And I think many of you probably experienced this. And it's why I'm answering it this way. And hopefully it'll help you to recognize. Don't sit on your laurels if you have a big opening in a meditation class, because so much of our inner world has been conditioned over years and years and years that we can instantly defeat that openness if we don't sustain the inner work. And as I said twice already, recondition our inner life, to embrace the changes and to live with the changes, to make them a permanent part of our chakra system and our inner life. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, Rudy talked about pain being a reflection of, let's say, muscles opening or things opening. So is that the same as tension, that pain, or it's a little different?
Well, there's not really a subtle difference. The pain of opening is like the pain of giving birth. It has to do with letting go. And as I, spoke earlier, just a few minutes ago, it's about truly overcoming that resistance. And the resistance is what causes the pain. The heart chakra opens, there can often be pain for a number of reasons. Usually we have buried in the heart chakra so many layers of anger and unhappiness and fear and insecurity. And when the heart chakra opens, we instantly feel that stuff we have buried there most of our lives. And there could be a lot of pain. There could be, oh my God, what's happening to me? I'm going crazy. And it's not that you're going crazy. You're releasing these kind of demons that you've repressed inside your heart chakra. And they create all kinds of, angst and difficulty and pain. And it's just a matter of, again, reconditioning ourselves so the heart chakra remains open and we don't repress all of that negativity that's happened to us in our life in the heart center. So that's one. And also the pain of muscles separating, of, things that have been tight all our life suddenly separate. And there's that pain, it's just part of the changes that have to take place in a human being, letting go. A best way to describe it is the pain of birth, of giving birth. What you're giving birth to is yourself. And there's all that resistance and pain and tightness inside that we carry around with us for years. And suddenly that Shakti, that energy is opening, and it's just like ripping it open sometimes, you know, and there's going to be pain. I mean, look, I sat with Rudy for 6 years, and I saw him go through so much pain of opening in himself. And I learned enormously about it. And when those things started happening to me, I had precedence. I wasn't afraid of it. I would let it happen. The pain didn't freak me out. You know, the demons that were let loose inside didn't freak me out. I knew where they were coming from. I knew I had to get rid of them. And eventually they became part of the flow of Shakti. And they went into the chakra below the navel and they created chi. They just become energy. It's no longer negative or positive. It's just energy. And that energy will create a strength inside you that enables you to deal with these kinds of situations. I mean, you know, people promote spiritual practice as this kind of holier than thou. Everybody is sweet as, you know, as an hors d'oeuvre, and it's not true, you know? Spiritual practice can be a rough and tumble, only because we got to get free of these years of conditioning ourselves to live a certain way and not put a coat of varnish over ourselves, you know, that's going to hide all of the pain and different. The pain comes out. And when it comes up and out, we can turn it into Shakti by using our will and our breath and mind and transform it into energy, which really gives us life. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Hi, Stuart. Am I correct then in understanding it's cyclical? It's like these demons never go away, but then you've learned how to deal with them, and then you've learned how to put them in the cycle of turning.
The demons go away. You release them, and they become part of the Shakti, the flow, the inner development. They're transformed from this kind of demonic, painful, almost terrible kind of energy that we bury inside us. You know, I mean, you know, therapists, they try to analyze this stuff and have people go back into the early ages to find out how to release this pain, you know? I mean, I don't really believe that really works, but then I guess if it works for people, that's okay, you know? But when you release that, I mean, it's, you know, that pain, you really get free of it. You have learned how to psychically transform using your mind, your breath, to transform these, in quotes, demons, you know, into, you know, a positive energy, into an energy of, you know, I wouldn't even say positive. It's an energy that's either positive or negative. It's just energy. And that energy becomes chi. It activates Kundalini. You know, it gives us the strength to keep our hearts open. So we release all of these demons that are buried in there. And we get free of this. You know, we don't live with this the rest of our lives. We have learned how to work through this and how to get free of this. And I'm not talking from having read about this in a book. I've been through this. I say this in almost every class. I have been through this. I had demons living inside me that God only knows how they got there, you know? But they were buried and they had to be released. They had to be transformed into just energy, not positive or negative. I had to learn how to use that energy to build my spiritual life. So it's not that they're there. Yeah, there'll always be negative things inside people, you know? But some of these real creatures that live inside us, you know, we can get free of. Suddenly we can breathe. There isn't that pain in our chest anymore.
Yes.
Understand, we really have gotten free of these things. We have learned how to master them.
Thanks, Stuart.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, if I understood what you said the other night, you said something to the effect that the mind is located below the navel chakra.
The mind isn't located there. You bring the focus of your attention there. That will discipline the mind to stay focused there. Understand? And once the mind is focused there, the mind is like an incredible surgical instrument that'll open the very core of your being, give you the strength then to keep the heart open, to keep the mind quiet, to receive knowledge, et cetera, et cetera. I repeat these things all the time. But the mind is in the head. And our job is to learn how to use the mind consciously instead of allowing ourselves to be used by the mind unconsciously. And what we do is we turn the focus of our attention into energy. It's no longer right or wrong, good or bad, some rationalizing of the word. It becomes just energy. And it's almost like a laser beam that will go right into the core of your being that will open that chakra. You're almost like doing surgery on yourself, using the mind to do that. And then what happens is we learn how to stay centered there by constantly doing this and again, conditioning ourselves to use the mind this way. We eventually get centered there and that chakra stays open. And there's quiet in our mind. We're receiving knowledge, wisdom from the universe. The third eye opens. We start seeing the world from an inner eye instead of seeing the world, as a physical thing. We see it as a spiritual thing when you see the world with an inner eye. But we have to learn to master this. If we don't learn to master this, the mind literally takes over. And there's so much tension, there's so much conflict, there's so much that we have to deal with, neurosis and anxiety, and all of this stuff that runs rampant in the human mind and creates a person who has a really difficult time living with himself or herself. The mind is a tool. We have to learn how to use it consciously. The breath is a tool. We have to learn how to use it consciously.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? All right, somebody also sent me an email today, which I don't know, somebody asked me about whether a discussion group can be created, to go over, and look, this is not a favorite topic of mine. But I'll bring it up because many of you might want that kind of thing, to sit around and talk about your experiences. I don't think it's very beneficial for people to sit around and talk about their spiritual experiences. But I'm not here to judge how everybody looks at these. I know I won't lead that. I really won't. I do 7 of these classes a week. I do in-person classes all the time. I am so full. And I'm really exhausted, and I'm not going to lead that kind of thing. But if people here want to do that, it's okay with me to find somebody who does want to hold that kind of discussion. You can do it on Zoom, but you know, it's not something that I truly want to be involved in. But some of you might find it beneficial. I don't know. You know, I don't know what goes on in everybody's individual life. But if you're interested, you can get in touch with me, and then I can, you know, maybe, you know, let you find out who people are that want this thing, and it can be set up. I don't think it's a negative thing, but usually when people have discussions like that, I don't know, it gets very chaotic, you know? But it doesn't have to be, and it could be beneficial to people, you know? It's kind of like spiritual group therapy, you know? Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? You know, Christmas is coming in a couple of days. I wasn't raised in the, you know, Christian faith, and I wasn't raised to observe Christmas, but it's always been a very special time of the year for me. You know, it's really a time for kind of deep meditation. It's also a time for birth and, you know, coming alive inside, you know. And I think it's a very important time. To me, mostly it's an important time because it's the end of a major cycle. And you literally can feel it in the atmosphere. There's a combination of joyfulness and heaviness. It's in the atmosphere all the time at this time of the year. And it's just letting go. I mean, Rudy always talked about on New Year's Eve, you should stand on a corner and just walk away from all the bullshit that happened to you in 2021 or when he was alive, you know? And it's true. It's part of letting go, making resolutions, and you know, which people probably almost never keep. I mean, you have to have a strong inner life to really keep resolutions. But you know, it's a very major time of the year. And it's a time when we really have an opportunity to let go of the old and step into the new and embrace the new, embrace the change, embrace that whole energy that comes when a cycle comes to an end and something is being born. It's an incredible time of the year, mostly for this reason that we as people can truly, you know, having a year of this work behind us, we can truly recondition our inner life so that we can step into the new us, the new world that we have created inside ourselves, and let go of that stuff, those demons that live in the heart, you know, those energies that kind of torment people and keep them from ever being happy. It's that time of the year to do this, and you can feel it. You can literally taste it. It is so strong now. You know, a combination of sweetness and pain, you know, of letting go. So I think it's a time that we have to use everything we've learned in 2021, and God only knows what kind of a year this has been. You know, I can't imagine it's been different for you than for me, because this has been one of the strongest years I've ever lived through. And I can't imagine it, you know, the work that has gone into developing an inner life. I'm not going to leave it in 2021. You know, I'm going to take it with me. I'm going to embrace the new. I'm going to open to everything God will send in this next year. And I'm going to use this time as a way of truly surrendering in such depth that it's going to be a new me. And I'm going to like that new me, because this year has been a really tough year. I'll tell you, it's been a very tough year. Yeah. And, you know, look, I want to start in-person classes again. I'm waiting for this the Om virus, the Om virus, to simmer down and stop its bullshit, and then we'll start the in-person. I really enjoyed having people coming here from all over the country. I really did, you know? And, you know, we went out, we had dinner, we had classes, at least 2 classes a day, at least on Mondays and Wednesdays, you know, and Fridays when I didn't have to do 2 Zoom classes. And I want to continue that. But right now there's concerns, you know, I mean, this thing is spreading like crazy. Well, they say it's not as strong as the other one. And people, you know, my daughter got it and she was mildly sick for 1 day, you know, and then it went away. She was tested negative today, thank God, you know. But it, you know, it's just, this will come to an end. It'll simmer down. And I want to continue these in-person classes. People are welcome to come here and do that. And I think it's a very major step towards getting people together and trying to, you know, not only do this on Zoom, but to do this in person as well. So anyway, God bless you all. Thank you. And I really deeply am grateful to have spent this year with most of you and to have truly, you know, learned so much. I have learned so much this year that you know, by doing these classes and sitting with all of you and what you have taught me about what I have to do to continue to grow spiritually. So bless you all. Thank you. There will be a class tomorrow night. It'll be the last class of the year. And I hope you all attend. I used to have a class, you know, on New Year's Eve, you know, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it this time, you know, this year, but I used to have a class to bring in the new year with a meditation class. I did this every year for like 20 years. So God bless you all. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. Bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank
Happy
you,
holidays.
Stuart. If you do New Year's Eve, I would love that.